Hi guys, I'm just putting together a short little clip basically on neurohacking, introducing the new technologies that have just come out and also the various people that are speaking about it. I find this very, very exciting, so can't wait to hear your feedback.
Do we get to tweak and upgrade subjectivity? Because that's what you're talking about, right?
Tweaking and upgrading subjectivity, yeah, I would say, and add a multi-perspectival in front of that subjectivity, and I think you're off to the races.
And so how do we do it? Flow dojo.
This has to do with what's possible as a human being that we can do with our own mind, whether it's yogic practice or whether it's exploring entheogens and psychedelics in a sacred context, or whether it's meditative practices or ways that we can use our breath in particular ways to open up transformative states. Whatever the technology, there are ways in which we can transform our experience. And that's really where I focus. So when we look at Maslow's hierarchy, as you pointed out, as you know, there, at the top there was self-actualization. But then sometimes towards the end of Maslow's life, he actually said self-transcendence. And so what I'm really interested in are what are the practices and the methods that we know from ancient history and that are emerging now today that can actually give us a sense of self-transcendence at the top of Maslow's hierarchy. So if in fact we have the other needs met, then what? Then what do we do? What does self-transcendence look like for an individual? Then in groups of people collectively around the world, what happens when self-transcendence begins to happen in group form? And what is the new potential that emerges when groups of people have all moved through a sense of self-transcendence? I think then we start to get in some very interesting territory, particularly when we combine it with some of these other technologies, whether it's neuroscientific technologies, neurohacker technology supplements, or brain-mind interface. There's some really interesting things that happen when self-transcendence meets modern technology, meets groups of people internationally on a world-centric or cosmocentric level of development. I think we're getting really close to that, and there are groups that are exploring it as we speak.
What new forms of human beauty and human subjectivity will become possible as we create a new generation of mind-melding technologies, that we can use to make well people better? That it's not just about fixing an affliction, but it's about expanding what it means to be and perceive and be human.
The Finder's Course Protocol is the first roadmap to awakening, integrating ancient wisdom with modern science to safely, quickly, and reliably bring about transformation. Built using gold standard psychological measurements and the latest biometric technologies, the subjective experience of awakening has finally been made objective. And most importantly, the protocol works.
Waking up can be something that can be trained and stabilized as a permanent attribute of one's experience. So self-transcendence doesn't have to be just a peak, but can be something that becomes a persistent experience over time as a view or an experience of reality. So I want to emphasize that we're not just talking about one-off hits, but there's a trainable capacity of stabilization that's possible for every single human being. And that's what we mean by waking up, not just a state experience, but a continued, ongoing experience of waking up.